Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Awaken Authentic Self. If you're watching me for the first time, I am Jill Young and I would like to welcome you to my channel. For those of you who have already subscribed to my channel, thank you for supporting. Please do not forget to go ahead and hit that like button right now before we get into this message for today. I want to address this whole ordeal about the Charlie Kirk assassination for today. Now, I'd like to apologize for my viewers if you've been waiting for me to drop any content. The reason why I have not been out here for a while is because, number one, I'm not a content creator that is looking for views, so I may not always repeatedly, post content out here just to get views. It's not about that for me. This station, is called Awaken Authentic Self. So we're going to be authentic here. So when I believe that God has dropped something in my spirit that would be helpful to my viewers, helpful to the masses, that's when I step in, and I have to be right and in the right frame of mind to do so. I just also had a death in the family. So please pray for your girl, right? Because we're all human. None of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. So I have to be in the right frame of mind and clear before I can come out here and deliver any type of message, because, if I'm going to represent Christ, I got to do it right. Okay. So today, I want to address this whole situation with Charlie Kirk. And this is not a political channel. This is a channel where we talk about self-improvement. We use biblical principles in order to do so. I am a life coach. So if you want and need life coaching, you can email me. My email will be in the description box, and you can schedule to have your one-on-one session, right? But today, I guess because Charlie Kirk was a political figure, I just want to address some things. Now, I heard about this assassination with Charlie Kirk, and before this assassination took place, I did not know who he was, because I'm not into politics. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. Recently became independent. And I'm just not into politics, but this situation has to be addressed because I believe it is one that affects God's people. Now, my platform is very, very small, very, very small. The truth in today's society is not going to be popular. When God uses his mouthpieces, when he has people who he uses to speak the truth, to speak his word, it's not always going to be popular. So I was watching Marcus Rogers' video not long ago, and I am not coming up against his channel or anything like that, but I just want to clarify some things here because it was very disturbing to me that I believe he's supposed to be like a Christian channel, and how he was saying some things about Charlie Kirk being a truth teller, because I believe I'm a truth teller, and I don't want to be put in the same category as Charlie Kirk. I pray for his wife and his children and his family. His assassination should have never happened. Nobody should be killed because of what they believe, what they say, for no reason at all. His assassination was wrong. However, after finding this all out, I was very interested to search Charlie Kirk and listen to some of his speeches and listen to some of the things that he believed in. And I have to tell you, I don't hear a man who is for minorities. I hear a racist. And this is why weighing everything up against the Bible, against, the Word of God, will help you see and examine the fruits. So, back to Marcus Rogers. He recently came out with a video, and it's titled Tiffany Montgomery Exposes Truth About Why Charlie Kirk Video is Still Up. They're sending a message. So if you haven't watched that video, please take some time to watch it to better understand what I'm talking about or about to talk about right now. So basically, in the video, they were trying to say that Charlie Kirk was a truth teller, right? And that they're keeping messages up, some of his videos up, to send a message that truth tellers would be assassinated, or, to scare us from speaking the truth. But I'm just telling you all, there is so much deception in this world. And if we just go along with whatever you hear, what the masses say, with that wide gate, we're going to, we're just going to end up in disaster. And so there's a problem here, because I was listening to Charlie Kirk, one of his speeches, and it disturbed me because he said that Black or African American women, can't process in their brain, and that the affirmative action or the DEI was put into place that give, these minority women jobs that they're not qualified for, that white people could have had. And I hear people twisting the things that Charlie Kirk said to try to make it seem like, he was coming from a place of saying that we need to judge people based off of merit, based off of their skills and exceptions, if they're exceptional, before we, hire those people, take those people in, it has to be based off of skill. And I just want to say, it is based off of skill. DEI, which stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion, does not disregard the skills, the merit, whether or not that person is exceptional, whether or not that person is qualified. That's not why DEI was put into place. People who go through the hiring process must be qualified to do what it is, that they do. What I've noticed from my research and from looking at some of Charlie Kirk's speeches is that he does not discuss the issue of affirmative action. He invalidates it, he dismisses it, he omits it. And we know that omission is a lie. So it's a reason why people want to take history out of the textbooks. It's a reason, right? So we cannot forget that the reason why we even have diversity, equity, and inclusion is because of affirmative action, right? Affirmative action was put into place to balance out white privilege. There was a time where qualified, exceptional, educated Black people were being denied and dismissed opportunities, jobs, that they were qualified for. So we had to put into place affirmative action, and we had to put into place programs like DEI that will make sure there were a certain percentage of qualified Black people, minority, not just Black people, but minority people, people who, maybe gay, people who are Asian, people who are Indian. Make sure you have those people, right, that also have that opportunity for positions, because there is a thing that exists, which is systemic racism. There is a thing that exists, which is, white privilege. And people who are white won't understand this because they haven't experienced it. And so for people to come out like Marcus Rogers and Tiffany Montgomery to say that this man, who was clearly a racist, to say that he's a truth teller? No. Maybe he thought he was a truth teller, because of, what he believes in, and because his racism is so deep ingrained within his brain. But he was not a truth teller. What happened to him shouldn't have happened. People should be able to say what it is that they want to say without a fear of their lives, right? We live in a country where we say we have freedom of speech, right? But apparently that is not always the case. What I do believe is, from a Christian or believer perspective, is that maybe he was getting his judgment because, see, God does not want us to go backwards, right? We do not want the spirit of backwardness. So if you are an African American parent, please do not allow your children to forget history. Explain to them what affirmative action is, why it was put into place in the first place, and why programs like DEI was put into place to help make sure that minorities had the same opportunities as whites. Now, we can say many things have changed, but we know that the more things change, the more they stay the same. These programs need to be kept, retained, because if not, many people who are qualified will again be denied. So I just want to say we're living in a time where people will call evil good and good evil. If you go to Isaiah in the Bible, chapter 5:20, you all know I got to bring out a scripture on everything. Go to Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20. It says, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter." You are deceiving the masses. You need to call a spade, or don't talk about it at all. Because is it true to say Black women are unintelligent? They don't have brain processing power? Black women and Black men were the first human beings on this planet. We were all made in God's image. And there is scientific proof that Black men and women were the first to be here. If you even search AI and you ask AI, how long have Black people been here? It will give you a number, 1.5 to 3, I believe it was 1.5 million to 3 million years ago, okay? And if you ask AI how long any other ethnic group has been here, it's going to give you a much lower number, right? So there's also been the oldest bones that were ever found of the human remains were from a Black woman in Ethiopia. right? So we were the first. So that means out of this whole entire universe, out of this world, each race started from a black woman. Now, you want to get up on your podium and say black women are unintelligent. They do not have brain processing power and they need affirmative action to take white jobs. How ignorant and unintelligent is that statement? It's very ignorant. One thing I can say as a black woman, because of what we've been through, because we experience this, racist, bigotry twice. Once because we're black, and second because we are women, we understand that there are some people who just have a block in their head that prevents them from learning the full truth. So, who is really unintelligent? Who is really unintelligent? When you have a blockage in your mind because you were haughty and puffed up with pride, you can't receive any teaching, right? Because anyone can offer you something that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to gain from yourself. Like everybody has some bit of knowledge that you don't have. So you can learn from anyone if you listen, if you pay attention. So what I learned by watching Charlie Kirk is that there are some people who deceive themselves. There are some people that deceive themselves. He did not mention anything about, from the videos I watched. Now, maybe he has in some other debates, some other videos, but from the videos I've seen thus far, he doesn't mention why affirmative action was even put into place. It's because we needed some equality. And when people forget their history, what happens? We repeat it again. We repeat it again, not realizing, hey, we tried this before and it didn't work. People had to shed their blood. People had to endure harshness. People had to be oppressed just for our black children, minority children and kids, girls and boys, to have the same opportunities as white people, right? Now, I'm not a bigot. I love all races. But I cannot honor a man who put a certain ethnic group down because of the color of their skin. Because the truth of the matter is there were always many qualified and educated and exceptional black people who were just as good as whites that were being overlooked until they put affirmative action into place. These people had to be made to find these qualified minorities. It doesn't lower the standard or the quality of a person put in any position. DEI does not do that. It makes sure that there is a diverse group of qualified, experienced candidates. So I want to, just from this channel, stop this rhetoric about DEI putting unqualified people in office, unqualified people, into a job such as flying planes. That's not true. That is not the case. And so people who, like Marcus Rogers and Tiffany Montgomery, who are African American, who are backing Charlie Kirk and not telling the whole story, I lost respect. Because I used to watch them and agree with the things that they said. So go ahead and just watch that video for yourself. And that's all I really want to say. People, we need to be smarter. We need to think for ourselves. This whole mass group think, it has to go. Where are the independent thinkers? Where are the free thinkers? Find out, do your research for yourself and use your brain, because this is how people get brainwashed in society. So hit that like button. This is Awaken Authentic Self. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again another day, God willing.